Hey everybody, it's Matt from Casually Crafted 3D again, and we're going to take a look at another third-party Transformer review. This time we actually have a gift set from DX9, War in the Pocket. We have their Dinobot set. This is their reissue, the full like metallic painted version, or mostly metallic. You'll see that all the figures are painted up in like their toy color scheme. But yeah, so it's a set of five. We have XTAL 18 flamethrower bumper, or this their G1 Slag, their XTAL 19 Jungle Warrior Quaker, which is back here. That's their G1 Sludge. And then we have their XTAL 20, the Bombardier Skyer, which is obviously Swoop over here. Then we have Desert Warrior Thorner, or their XTAL 21, which is their Snarl. And then, of course, we have the XTAL 22 Dino Commander Rager, or Grimlock. So all five of the Dinobots, these are legend scale, so they're smaller. I mean, obviously the Dinobots are pretty big, so they're actually like decent size, but they are legend scale. This set came out quite a while ago, so obviously they've been kind of sidelined by the new age legend scale and the Magic Square offerings. But these are like a really good cheap box set. I think that these cost wise, this box set costs like as much as like maybe two of the Magic Square ones, and maybe even one of the New Age ones, just because they are quite expensive. So these are, pretty cheap and easy to come by. So if you want just like a cheap little Dinobot set, I mean, there you go. I also know that MFT made a set, like a upscaled version of these. So this is the original. This isn't the MFT, so they are a little bit smaller. So, but they are basically the same thing. But I have the box, so let's take a look at the box, and I might have to like pan way out just to actually look at it, because it's a decent sized little, decent sized box. But on the front, we got all the different, a couple of pictures of them in robot mode. There's all the names here. Really nice box. It's kind of like got like a matte finish on it. They came all in this little clamshell pack, like plastic thing in here. They're all in Dino mode. So that's how they came. I got some nice art on the side. I kind of tilt it to get it in frame, of Sludge, Snarl, and Grimlock. And then on the other side here, we have some art of Slag and Swoop. And then on the back, we got a nice kind of G1-esque type of art back here of them fighting the Constructicons. Or what it really just looks like they're fighting a whole bunch of construction equipment, rather. But either way, it's pretty good art. And then it even has like the little tech specs, if you actually care about the tech specs, kind of like how they did on the original G1 packaging. Nothing special about the bottom, just warnings and some more promo shots of them on the top, with Grimlock sitting down, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so there's the packaging. But set that aside and we'll take a look at some of them. So we're going to take a look at Flamethrower Bumper first, or Slag. So he comes with only two accessories. He's going to come with this completely translucent plastic sword. I kind of wish that they had painted the handle, and all of them are like this too. All of them have unpainted handles, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I mean, it's pretty good. Got some nice sculpted detail that you can kind of see with the clear plastic, but I mean, it's pretty nice. And then he comes with his little gun, which is just bare plastic. But yep, and they just have these little pegs, and they can just go into the hands just fine. Right like that. So there we are. So taking a look at the figure, there's some nice chrome here on like the what will be the Dino's lower jaw here, and on the big frill on the back of the Triceratops head. Pretty nice. One thing that is with this guy is he has some trouble standing. Like he likes to definitely like teeter and eventually fall backwards because he doesn't really have any heels, and the heels that he does have are kind of angled. Like because of this part, which is the dino tail, it kind of leaves it, kind of bowed here. I don't know how well it shows up on camera. So he kind of naturally wants to lean back over time. But yeah, we've got some nice clear plastic for the horns. I actually I would have preferred if those were solid color, but like I said, I think this is going for kind of like a tune thing. So I think they were clear on the toy, anyways. So it makes sense why they chose to do that. But the head sculpt is pretty good. Some nice painted eyes. I prefer painted eyes over clear, light piping eyes, anyways. So those look really good. And pretty much all of this, except for like the red. I think the red here might have even like a gloss coat to it. But like the yellow here, this is what it looks like. The outside here is all painted. The inside, I think it's a slightly different shade, so I don't think that's painted. But all of this gray here, this is all like a nice like gunmetal color, and then there's silver that's all painted on. Some of this yellow is painted on. They missed the undersides of the feet though, which is kind of interesting, but it is what it is. But some nice red detail here. But yeah, he looks pretty good. So for articulation, starting with the head, and all the joints on this they're pretty tight actually. The head here is on a ball joint, so he can go side to side a little bit, and his head can rotate 360 degrees, but it's really tight and it's kind of hard to move, especially with this big cowling here. But it is on a ball joint. The shoulders here are on a little, and there's actually a little bit of flashing plastic in there, but there in that joint is like a little mushroom peg, so they can go, if you move them out of the way, they can go 360 degrees. There's a joint up here in the shoulder to get you about that far, and down all the way, obviously. There is a mushroom peg here in the bicep, and again, it's pretty tight. I don't want to move it too much because I don't want to break it, but you can get 360 degrees on that. There's one single joint here in the elbow to get you about 90 degrees. And then it kind of sucks, but there's no wrist articulation at all. They can just go down and in a little bit, but it kind of looks unnatural. That's just part of the transformation. So when he's holding the sword, he's kind of, He-Man toying it a little bit, where he can't get nice, well, you can kind of angle it a little bit, but it just doesn't look quite right. But so no wrist articulation. Now for the waist here, there actually is, well, never mind. It's more of like a reverse ab crunch, so that's more for transformation. No waist articulation at all, which kind of stinks, but I get it with how all this collapses up here. Ball joints here at the hips, so it gets you about that far forwards, about that far back, and you can go all the way out. Mushroom peg here at the thigh, again, very tight because of the paint, but it can go 360 degrees. The knee is a single joint here, can go down about that far, and that's, again, really tight joint. And he does have an ankle tilt, but it's way up here, so it looks weird. It looks weird, but it is there. It is there. But the feet themselves, I guess you can count that as a toe tilt, but it starts moving this part down, so I wouldn't really count it. But yeah, the feet on this guy are definitely the weakest part, because it kind of just leaves him with block legs, kind of, because the ankle tilts are essentially worthless, so he just kind of is. But yeah, so there's the articulation on Slag. Alright, for transformation into his Triceratops mode, we're going to start down here with the hands and just kind of collapse these into the forearms. We'll just kind of straighten these arms out like this for now to get them out of the way. And then the head here, this part of the chest is going to lift up and close into the mouth right here. And then we're going to kind of just take his legs forward like this and bend the waist back so that we have clearance to untab this part right here. Let's get the arms out of the way. And then we're just going to kind of leave it out like this. And then we need to get these front legs out here. So this part we're just going to kind of angle down a little bit so that we can get the Triceratops front legs out on these ball joints. So we're just going to kind of pull these out. And then, let's see, and then this part here, we're going to move these back, and then we're going to rotate this around, and these are actually going to become the rear legs. But then we're going to have to kind of sort out his robot mode legs here. So start with here, we're going to take this part of the tail out, and then we're going to unpeg this from the side, make it a little easier. And then this top of the foot is actually going to come down, and it's going to form the top of the tail section here, which is kind of cool. This is going to come out on that hinge, then it'll come out, come down on that hinge, and then on this dual hinge, we're going to move this out and just kind of get it out of the way for now. Same thing here, undo it from the leg, tail up, foot part in, tail back, move this all out of the way. Okay, so now we're going to, apologies, my cat was whining. We're going to kind of get these a little out of the way so that we can take this and rotate at his robot mode knee joint and angle them up, and then there's a little hole here and a peg in the side of the backpack here where they're going to kind of just peg together like that. Same thing on the other side, angle this down and peg together into that hole, and then the legs will just kind of go together like that. So keep this out of the way. And then this part can be kind of tricky, so we're going to move this back like this, and these need to be in a certain orientation to get into this when this flips around this way. So in order to do this, we need to kind of have these down like that, bring this in, and then we need to kind of bring them over like this. Okay, so you need to have this pressed in all the way, and then the back legs or the robot arms up like this, and then the tail parts angled down like this, so that you have just enough clearance to get this forwards on this hinge here, and then you can scoot this part behind this joint and then rotate it in like that. So same thing, push it in over that joint, rotate that, and now we are able to angle these back up, rotate it in, and this little red part here will sit right in that socket like that. And then they will come together like this, and then a whole bunch of different pegs here for the tail will go together. Just bring those down. And then the flaps here will just slide right into these little holes here with the pegs. Like that. All right, and there he is. Yeah, the paint kind of makes some of the tabs going together a little bit difficult. Just because I don't know if they're not properly toleranced, or maybe the original was like not as painted or something like that. So some of the parts some of the tabs have a little bit of trouble getting together. Especially like the tail has some trouble staying together here. But like I said, I think that's just the paint. But here he is in his Triceratops mode, and I think he looks pretty good. Like I said, that chrome coming out real nice on the big mane or the frill here, on the lower jaw, and his overall build looks pretty good. He's a big, chunky Triceratops. Underneath, I mean, it cleans up really nice. Obviously, the toes not being painted is a little goofy, but you know, whatever. But yeah, I think he looks the part. As far as the articulation that we have on this now, basically all the same articulation you had on the robot mode arms. Now you have on the back legs, and then the new Dino legs on the front. They're on a ball joint here, so you can move those however you want, and then they're on a little swivel here, which is very, very tight. They're on the front arms. Very tight. There you go. So you can get about that far forwards and a little ways back. And then the mouth does still open. But there he is. Slag. And now we'll take a look at Jungle Warrior Quaker, or their Sludge. He comes with 2 accessories, just like Slag did. So he's going to come with a different sword here. They are all different. Same thing, unpainted handle, but some nice detail here. And then he's going to come with a different looking gun here, which is bare plastic. I can't really tell if this is actually like a gloss overcoat or if it's just the sheen of the plastic. But yeah, there's his weapon. And of course, they can hold them just fine. Slides right into the hand, and then same thing with the sword. Slides right into the hand, really easy. But some nice metallic paint here on the waist here. Everything gunmetal painted up. So he is pretty good. They didn't paint the undersides of the toes again, and the little spines here. There's like some over paint here, but that's just a minor nitpick. His face looks really good. He's got a pretty good little head sculpt there, with the painted eyes and the painted silver and everything. Onto the back, he actually cleans up pretty good on the back. I mean, as you see, he's got the big silver tail, and his his big wings, but he cleans up pretty good, I think. You can see there's a lot of dino parts here packed into his feet, which means that he has the exact same problem that Slag has. He's got big old block feet though, and you can tell they're all solid. So, but might as well get on with articulation then. He's got a ball joint here in the head, but it's like deep into the body, so he can't really move his head like at all. But he can. It's very tight, but he can get 360-degree rotation on the head. For the shoulders, they are mushroom pegged into the arm this time, so they are up here, and he can only get the arms about as far as the wings back here will allow, but I guess if you put them all the way up, you can get 360 degrees. We got a pretty highly mounted shoulder joint here, so you can get them out that far, but it looks kind of wonky. Up above the elbow here on the bicep, we have a rotation there on a mushroom peg, and you can get 360 degrees there. For the elbow here, you can get about 90 degrees on that little swivel joint. And then unfortunately no wrist articulation at all, just like Slag, which is unfortunate. Down here at the waist, no waist swivel, no ab crunch. We have down here in the legs, we have ball joint hips, so forwards pretty far, back pretty far, out all the way, just fine. Mushroom pegs here at the thigh for 360 degree rotation. Single joint here for the knee will only get you about 90 degrees. And then we have one of my biggest gripe with this guy is he has no foot articulation at all because he doesn't have feet. There's no ankle tilts or anything, so when he stands, it just kind of looks weird. But, you know, older figure, I guess. And the legs are just really thick. Looks bizarre to me. So to get him into his Dino mode, we're going to start here with the hands. So this little panel here is going to come down, and then his hands will just rotate in all the way, and then the panel will just go right back up. Same thing on the other side. Panel in, go up. And then you're going to want to take and we're going to lift these arms kind of out a little bit. Try to kind of get stuff out of the way to prepare. And then, let me remember here. And then we're going to take the legs here and kind of move them up and out of the way. And then at that joint all the way in the back here, we're going to lift the waist out. And then this whole chest panel here is going to separate and move all the way up like that. And then from this point, we are going to come back this way and we're going to sort out some of the leg parts. So the legs here actually pull out a little bit off of that ball joint to allow you to get them up and over. I gotta pull it out even further. There you go. To get up and over this little section here. So pull them out and slide them over. Same thing here. And again, these joints are so insanely tight from the paint. I'm gonna have to do that off camera. Okay, so slide it out so that we can get clearance to get over this, and then just rotate them accordingly and push them back in like that. Thing, get them out where we need them to, and then push them back in. Nice solid pop. And then the part here is going to swivel out on this little joint here to bring out part of the dino neck, and then this part is going to kind of help to get that out of the way. This part here is going to come out on this joint and this little ball joint. You're just going to kind of turn that and line it up so it looks correct. Same thing on the other side, except this side's going to have the Dino mode head attached to it. Kind of angle it out, get it out of the way, turn it, line it up. And then now we're going to kind of start to collapse the parts here a little bit, and we're going to get this out of the way. And then we're going to start to collapse these down while also rotating these to get them out of the way or in the correct position. And then you're going to kind of push them closed after the knees are past a certain point here to get them into the right orientation like that. And then it's just kind of a matter of finagling everything up in a certain way so that the legs have the clearance to collapse and get past all of this here. So now, like this, they should be able to just start to push together and then fit over all of this. So it should start to come down. Oh, good Lord. Oh, I see what's going on here. This little panel here for the waist needs to come down. That little front panel. I'd forgotten that. So now it'll collapse just like this. And then all of the neck parts here will tab together. And of course it's extremely tight because of all the paint. And they'll tab together like that. And then here, so the arms need to come down kind of like how it did with Slag, and then lift up so that you can get the clearance to slide these parts past. Oops, and actually, need to rotate this entire thing 180 degrees. But same thing, arms up so that these panels can slide around, and then the arms will fit into these recesses on the panels, and then they will dovetail into those little slots there and peg together like that to kind of complete the torso. And then the tail here has this little lip here, which will just fit underneath that section right there, enclosing the head. And it has to kind of go over like that, very tight. And then just kind of rotate the legs into place. Get everything kind of closed up, and there he is. There's Sludge. But he has the same articulation on the back legs as the as the robot mode arm, so nothing different there. The new front legs for the Dino has a little. It's technically a ball joint in here, but it's like it might as well be a swivel just because of the way that it attaches. But 360 degrees on that. It can move in a little bit just because of the transformation. And then we have a little swivel joint here that can get about that far forwards and about pretty far back. No real articulation on the tail or the neck. It can rotate here, but it also kind of leaves his head at a little bit of an odd angle here. If you prop it up a certain way, maybe the head is like straight, but the mouth does open very, very tightly, but it does open. And yeah, I think it doesn't clean up quite as well as Slag, I think. And of course, the panels are really bad on this one with staying together. But as far as the look, it looks pretty good. Like from the side, it looks great. From the top, it looks pretty good. From the front, it's it's okay. There's some hollow spots here. The bottom cleans up pretty good. But yeah, so there is Sludge. All right, and here is Bombardier Skyer, or Swoop. So he's going to come with a couple of accessories. The first being another sword with a different hilt here. All translucent red plastic. And he's going to come with two of these little missile launcher gun things. They're completely painted. The gunmetal here and the black here is painted, and then the yellow missile here. And he can hold all these just fine. For example, there's his sword in his hand. He can hold the missiles in his hands here, or he can have them on these little peg holes here in the wings, like so. All right, so let's take a look at the figure. So I actually really, really like the way this one cleans up. It's very clean on the front. Got the blue plastic here is not painted, I don't think. Maybe it's got like a, some kind of a finish on it, but I don't know if it's painted. The gray here isn't painted either. And then obviously it's got chrome for the wings, which is very nice. The face has a pretty nice head sculpt. He's got such a concerned face. It's kind of funny. But paint here on the lower forearms. The legs are all painted up pretty nice with like the gold here. Nice red pinstripes. But it was pretty good. But let's take a look at the articulation. So for the head, it's on a ball joint. Can tilt side to side a little bit. 360 degrees up and down. Up a decent amount for like little flight poses, which is pretty good. Down just a little bit. He's got a joint actually in the body here, which can kind of move around independently. It's more for transformation, but I figured I'd count it. A ball joint arm, so he can get about that far out and down all the way. Rotate 360 degrees and a little bit of wobble. No bicep, but he does have an elbow ball joint, so get you about that far up, 90 degrees. He can rotate 360 degrees because it's a ball joint. No wrist articulation again, which kind of sucks. But the joint here does kind of allow for you to move the wrist down, but it lifts up the Dino foot a little bit. So, oh well. No waist articulation at all. No front or back or nothing. For the waist, actually, for the hips, it's actually pegged in to the crotch here. So this whole section moves independently. So you can get about 90 degrees forwards on that joint. And not too far back just because of the wings. We can get all the way out on that little swivel joint here. And then there is a mushroom peg down here at the thigh, so you can get 360 degrees on that. And then the joint here at the knee can get you about 90 degrees. For the feet, they can angle forwards about that far, angle back pretty far, so that's really good actually. I think this one has probably the best feet of all 5 on that little joint right here. And then we do have an ankle rocker right there, so you get about that far. So pretty good articulation on him. I think this one's probably the best articulated of the bunch. So let's get him transformed. So first off, we're going to take this little yellow piece right here, and we're going to pull this out, and it can be kind of tight. Pull that out to form that little clip, and then that clip is going to clip right into the top of his head here. So this whole Dino beak part is going to slide up and clip right into the top of his head. And then this whole section here on the joint here in the torso is going to lift this whole thing up into this little cavity right there, so it's facing forwards. And then we're going to, let's see, get the wings out of the way. There are 2 joints here in the torso where you're going to bring the entire torso sections in with the wings attached and the forearm and the arms attached. Going to bring them out like this. And then from here, we're going to rotate the forearms in and push the hands in to get the Dino feet. And then we're going to kind of just get these out of the way. Angle the wings out, and then from here, we're going to take these black panels right here, and I'll see if I can get it with my hands. And then we're going to move them out like this, just kind of get them out of the way. The feet are going to move and collapse into the body, or into the legs like that. Just kind of have them angled down. And then you're going to rotate here at the hips or the thighs rather, for the legs. We're going to kind of spread these wings out, and then this whole section here, this whole section here for the bird's neck is going to push forwards on this slider to kind of push up and out of the way. And then here at the joints that were the robot mode legs, or the hips, you're going to move these up as far as they'll go. And then at the knees here, you're going to angle down as far as they'll go. Like that. Like that. And then they're going to peg into these little holes here into the legs. And you got to make sure that these are out of the way. So we're going to, there we go, get the feet out of the way. You got to make sure this is all collapsed correctly or it won't work right. And then just kind of angle in, and with some gusto, there you go, get it all together. And then these flaps just kind of sit along to the side like this, part of my cat playing. And then the arms here are going to slide down into this recessed spot right there, right like that, and then just kind of fix them up accordingly. And there is Swoop for the most part. So there he is in his pterodon or pterodactyl, however you say it, Dino mode. And from this mode, there are a couple of places where you can actually put his missiles. So you can put them down here on his wings, or you can actually put them back here on the little pegs that were there on his back. So you can put them back there as well, which is probably where I would like them. Right like that. Of course, nice chrome wings. I think he looks pretty good. The head is nice. I like the angle of it, of the beak. But yeah, nice painted dino eyes. Pretty good. He cleans up okay. He cleans up pretty good on the back. From the front, he looks a little weird. I think it's because they're very obviously like the robot mode arms. But yeah. For articulation, the mouth does open about that far. Looks the part. You still got, from the robot mode elbows, you have the ball joints here, so you can have them standing however you want to. The wings here have a joint there, so you can move those in and out, and then another joint here, so you can move those however you want to. So there he is. There is Swoop. All right, and here is the Desert Warrior Thorner, or Snarl. He's going to come with 2 accessories, just like everybody else. We have a different sword here. It's got quite a bit of flashing on the tip here, but it actually does. It's different, like the actual molding with these little flarings on the side. But again, all translucent plastic. And he has a different gun, all just black plastic. And he can hold these just fine in his hands, like so, and like so. And let's take a look at the figure itself. And I think he looks pretty good. This one by far I think has the worst feet in the of the bunch. Big old hollow area here with dino parts in it. The feet are just not very good. He just kind of looks weird standing, and I think that's a part of just kind of how the legs look from the side too. It just doesn't look quite right. His wrists are also pretty bad. Like just kind of like the way that it looks, in my opinion, looks definitely incomplete. But the rest of them looks pretty good. Nice boxy chest, big old shoulders. I think look really good. The spikes, the tail on the back looks good. He's got a pretty nice face sculpt. Got a big nose. He looks pretty good. The back cleans up pretty nice, except for these red pieces here, which are a little weird, but looks pretty good. From the top, he cleans up pretty good too. So he looks pretty nice. But yeah, so let's get into articulation. I think it's actually not a ball joint. It's a swivel little pin here, so you can go about that far back on the head, back and forth. The head itself is on a little swivel here, so you can get 360 degrees. Shoulders are just pegged in to the actual torso, but you can get 360 degrees if you move the arms out of the way. And then same thing, a shoulder up here, kind of like how Sludge had it, way up here at the top of the shoulder, so you can get about that far out. The upper arms are on a mushroom peg, so 360 degrees on that. The elbow here is on a pin, so get about 90 degrees there. Wrists aren't articulated. This little thing here, I'm not going to count that because it's an awkward angle, but yeah, so no rotation or anything like that. The waist, he actually does have a waist swivel here. Get 360 degrees on that. And then the legs here, up here at the hips, got ball joints. About that far out, about that far back, and about that far to the side. Mushroom peg down here in the thigh, so 360 degrees on that. His knee joint is actually up here into the thigh, but you can get maybe a little bit more than 90 degrees there. And then he does have a little articulation here at the toe, but I'm kind of not really wanting to count it because it doesn't do anything. So there's a little pin here where you can actually slightly pivot the toe in, but it does absolutely nothing for his stability. So whatever, it's there. An attempt was made. But, alright, so let's transform him to his Stegosaurus mode. Alright, so starting with the hands here, we're going to push them in, like so. And they should just kind of push into kind of the robot or the dino mode feet there into that little crevice. And then on that same joint, you're going to pull everything out here and angle the foot out there on that joint and just kind of angle all the way out like that. So same thing, angle it out all the way like that, if my camera would focus, like that. And we're just going to kind of get these out of the way for now. So straighten up the toes here, and then back here, there's these little panels on the torso, and that actually helped to get that out of the way. And then just kind of pull them up like that, and chewing up my fingers because that's kind of tight. There you go. Get those up and out of the way. And then back here on this joint here, you're going to rotate the spikes down. And then this head is just going to kind of push down and get past this little red part and push into the torso. And then these pieces here, you're going to kind of just rotate them like just kind of out of the way. We're going to lift this up to kind of get this out of the way too on this joint right here. Of course, everything's really tight. Get that out of the way. On these joints here, these are going to kind of come down like that. And we're just going to push these in here to give ourselves some clearance. And we're going to start to rotate them down. We won't be able to actually get them into place, but at least they're down like that. And then from here, we're just going to pull this up and over to get it out of the way. And then these parts here for the actual torso or the back wing parts are going to start to close, making sure that we have everything where we need it. And then these parts can turn all the way in, and they'll kind of clip around that part of the tail. And then everything will start to kind of move together and get out of the way to where the tail can clip together here. So let's get the legs out of the way. And then this part, the whole torso section here on this joint here, will come down and line up nice and flush with these red parts. And then the spikes can just come down and set over the robot mode chest like that. The waist here, you're going to want to rotate it 360 degrees. Cat bumped my camera. And then we're going to take down on the legs. These panels are going to lift off so that these can come out. And then the dino head will just swivel out on these two joints and then out on that joint. And we'll just kind of leave it like that. And then the dino legs here will come out on this little rotational joint here to like that. And we'll straighten that up while we're here and just get it out of the way. Same thing on the other side. We're going to lift this panel out, rotate all of this out, get the dino leg out of the way, get it out of there. And then here we are actually going to, this is where it gets a little weird here. Going to rotate the thigh like this, kind of angling the knees, and then rotate this whole thing on that joint around like so. And I'm going to do it on the other side just so we're all lined up around. Angle the knee a little bit so you can get clearance, and then rotate around like this. And then you're going to need to actually close these panels back around and peg them back in where they were, like this. Get them out of the way. And we're going to have to kind of line everything up before we commit and tab everything together. So now there's a bunch of pegs and a bunch of holes where you just need to line them up It can be a little tricky just because of how everything wants to go together, but eventually it'll all kind of slide into place and tab together like so. And then now you just kind of clean up the legs and move these, and then these, the arms will, or what was the arms, will just kind of move up a little bit more, so they collapse in kind of this formation for the Dino's back legs. And then, more or less, you know, with everything not tabbing together just because of the paint, but more or less, there he is. There's Snarl. And immediately, the paint for the front spikes and the back spikes are like totally different. These are kind of like a greenish yellow, so that's a bit off-putting, to be honest. And it's kind of odd that they painted all of this, that nice silver or gunmetal, and then left that unpainted. So that looks a little unsightly to me. You can clearly see the robot mode hands in the lower legs of the Dino, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, the engineering for the tail is really nice, how it went together. Yeah, it's not too bad. I definitely think this one probably looks the worst of all of them, just because of the the paint and some of the weird stuff going on with the hands and whatnot. As far as articulation, the mouth does open very tight, but it does open. For the front legs here, you have ball joints, so you can move those however you want to, 360 degrees around. Another joint here and like the little elbow, again, very tight, but it moves up all the way and moves back a little bit. And then the toe here is articulated to go about that far down and about that far up. Legs here, shoulders or hips now, same as the robot mode. Got rotation here. Basically all the same articulation. The only new articulation is going to be here for the robot, or for the Dino foot, which can move back and forth. But that's about it. That's all that it has for articulation. But there is Snarl. And last but not least, we have the Dino Commander Rager, or Grimlock, obviously. As far as his accessories, he comes with a few more than the others. He comes with a little bit larger sword here, all in translucent red. He comes with his signature dual-barreled gun, all in black plastic. He comes with a crown, which is painted yellow. Pretty nice. And he comes with an accessory just for the Dino mode. He comes with the I can't remember if it was mind control or it was I think it was that one episode when he got really smart in I think it was season 3 when he made like Computron. But this is just for the Dino mode. It's his little Smarty Smart helmet. But as far as his other accessories, he can hold his sword just fine in the one hand, although it can be kind of awkward to get into the hand just because of the claw parts for the Dino. And he can hold his gun just fine. And his his crown does go on in a certain way with the 2 spikes in the back and the 1 spike on the front. You just kind of slide it over the top, or maybe it was the other way around. I think it was the other way around, actually. No, I had it right. Like this. Slides over his little horns. It's very tight, though, so I don't want to push it too far or else I'll break it, but it does slide right over his little ears here. So taking a look at the figure, man, from the front, I mean, it looks really nice. They've got some nice paints down here on the legs, a nice translucent on the chest, but it's got the yellow part in the middle, which I really like. His head sculpt is pretty pretty nice, though I feel like his face is a little too thin. Like it's super, super thin. Like his visor, you can tell maybe by looking at it, just looks a little weird. From the side, I mean, nice, nice gunmetal paint pretty much all around. They didn't paint the bottom of the toes again, which is looks a little weird, and it is that off kind of greenish color that like Slag had, or not Slag, Snarl had. So it doesn't quite fit with the other yellow, I think. Around to the back, I mean, cleans up surprisingly well on the back, with just his dino arms hanging off the side like they're supposed to, and got the nice black little pinstripes. But he cleans up pretty nice all around. My problem with him is the hollow spots in the legs, and that. I think that looks terrible. It looks really incomplete here. From certain angles, it just does not look right. So that's the only gripe with him. Otherwise, like from all other angles, he looks pretty good. Just don't look at him from the top. As far as articulation, we have a little joint here in the neck to bring it up a little bit and down a little bit. And then his head is on a little rotation joint here, so we can get 360 degrees. The arms are attached up here, actually into the shoulder on this little mushroom peg. But you can get his arms 360 degrees if you move the wings out of the way. The wings are actually, by the way, on a little swivel joint there, so you can move those quite a bit. Shoulders are up here, just like a lot of the other bots, so you can get them about 90 degrees out, but it looks a little weird. We have a mushroom peg down here on the bicep, so you can get 360 degree rotation there. There is a little pin joint at the elbow, so you can get 90 degrees. It's very tight. And there is no wrist articulation at all. Nothing. So, nothing for the hands. For the waist, no ab crunch, but you do get a... Oh, never mind, actually. I thought that you did. It's for transformation, that's why. You can't rotate it because it's actually pegged into the backpack. So no waist articulation, even though it looks like there should be. Ball joints here at the hips bring you that far forwards, that far back, and all the way out, no problem. Mushroom peg down here in the thigh, so you can get 360 degrees. And then a single knee joint here, which will give you 90 degrees. He does have an ankle rocker here at the foot, so you can get it about that far in. Alright, so let's get him transformed into his T-Rex mode. So first with the hands here, there's a little slider here. You'll just push the hand in, and then we're going to rotate the elbow here around 360 degrees, or not 360, 180 degrees, good lord. And then we'll come back here to the head, and you might actually need a tool. Back here at this little panel here, we'll just kind of lift out to open up, and then you're going to turn his head 180 degrees and push it into that little slot, and then close it. And then from here, we're going to unpeg from the head, or from this part. There's a little clip here. You kind of have to push down, and this whole section will rotate out. And then this whole head section here for the T-Rex will just kind of pull out on this joint, and we'll get it out of the way. And then from here, we are going to rotate this 180 degrees. It's very, very tight. And then we're just going to kind of leave this for now. So for the legs, straighten out the feet here. Make sure that they're angled correctly with the calves. And then from here, we're going to pull on this joint here to rotate this all the way out, and then pull on that joint and this joint to straighten all of that out. Same thing with the other side. Going to rotate that out, and that out. And then from here, we're going to turn the legs here at the thighs so they are rotated out like this. And then these parts are going to go in this joint here and collapse in like this, like that. And then at this point, you can peg everything together if you want to, peg it all together, and then this whole section comes down like that and then lines up to form his tail. And then here, you're going to actually move these forwards on the hips so it's down like that. Or actually, we're going to want to do this first. So rotate this part, which is the robot mode chest, up and over everything here. So then it's flush like this with the waist. And then this comes down, and these two pegs will go into these two holes like this. And this is quite tight. There you go. Clip together. And we'll just kind of get these out of the way. And then from this joint here and this joint here, you're going to angle this forward very tight, and then move this back like that. And then basically just the two shell parts here, the wings, will come together and tab together like that. And then the neck will peg right into there. And then we'll just kind of straighten everything up with his arms and everything. And then there he is. There is Grimlock in his T-Rex mode. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I think it cleans up really nice. You know, I think this one probably cleans up the best out of the bunch. It definitely looks the part. The only goofy thing is he has kind of like a goofy toddler mouth from the front with his teeth. Looks a little weird, like he's missing his front teeth. And it looks even worse when you open his mouth. This mouth does open. It's extremely tight and might need a tool to open. Good grief. Ugh. But you can open the mouth. But yeah, you can see how he's kind of like missing his top row of teeth, which is a little goofy looking. But you can do it. His dino arms here are on ball joints, so you can move those however you want to. And then he does have all of the articulation from his robot mode legs, or robot mode arms, so you can move those however you want to. But yeah, as far as his accessories, his gun can actually peg into this hole on the back. So you can put that there if you wanted to. And his little Smarty Smart helmet does go right over his head in Dino mode, albeit kind of weirdly. It doesn't like peg in very well, but with some force you can get it to fit over. I mean, not really. I don't want to force it because I don't want to break it, but it can go on to his head like that. So there's Grimlock. And there is the whole team of Dinobots in their dino forms. And I think it looks pretty good. Alright, here they are all lined up for some size comparisons. So they're all roughly the same height, Grimlock and Sludge being a little bit taller. So I will see, best way I can do this. Well, let's see. Let's do, first off, here's another DX9 figure in their same scale. This is their War in the Pocket cup. So like almost Carbot sized. And then we have about a Magic Square Carbot. We have Magic Square's Prowl. And we have our trusty Magic Square Optimus. Their 2.0 Optimus. There. About up to the chest of Grimlock back here. I'll move them out of the way because the next comparison I have is some Magic Square Dinobots. So we don't have a Magic Square Swoop or a Snarl yet as of this recording. So I do have the Magic Square Grimlock, and I have the Magic Square Sludge, and I don't know if I can fit them in frame here, but I do have the Magic Square Slag. So there's obviously quite a big size difference here. And I don't have the New Age Dinobots anymore. I used to have them, but I know they're roughly the same size as the Magic Square ones, maybe just a little bit shorter. But yeah, so these Dinobots are definitely a little bit smaller. But I mean, they're still like, I think they're going for a different aesthetic here, anyways. Like they're not, very clearly they're not like super tuned like the Magic Square ones, anyways. So I think they're kind of their own thing. But yeah, there's a good idea of scale. All right, and that's it for the DX9 Warren Pocket Dinobots. If you made it this far in the video, of course, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, final thoughts. I mean, this is a really good set. I'm sure that the MFT set, the upscaled version of these, is just as good, and you just really can't beat the price on these guys. Like you get so much just for what it is for the set. They're really good. What is it? Like Toy Deco Dinobots. I mean, their shortcomings. I mean, there really aren't too many. I mean, as far as like accuracy, obviously, like the Magic Square and the New Age bots have kind of put these guys to the sidelines, so they're gonna get kind of overlooked. But these, I mean, they're pretty great figures. Just the little nitpicks that I have, with some of the feet on like Snarl, Sludge, and Slag here. I mean, yes, they're annoying. And like the lack of wrist articulation on all of them, the little hollow spots here on Grimlock. I mean, just for like what they cost, and when we actually, when they came out, I think I can let that slide. But I mean, they're really good figures. A solid recommend from me. But yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, please give me, like, subscribe, comment. Check me out on all my socials via the link tree I posted below. Just to see updates on some of like my 3D projects and stuff that I make, or if I post any more of these reviews over time. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.